Hello and welcome to another edition of the ProtoBalls podcast. I'm ProtoMet.
I'm Barry. And we got a guest? Oh my god!
Ah!
I am BJ.
Yes, he's returned once again for another spellbinding edition.
And what are we covering today?
Hold on, let me check my book here. The Necronomicon Ex Mortis. I think I picked up the wrong book.
Yeah, I already have that one. It's got all the Cthulhu's in it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Today we will be taking a look at Within the Woods. I don't know why I mentioned the Necronomicon. That has nothing to do with
that has
movie.
nothing to do with this story, but don't worry about it.
Shall we start with some really bad VHS artifacting?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
As
So
some people are just kind of hanging out at a cabin in the woods.
Wait, those were people?
I know you kind of just squint through all the artifacting, but yes, the static.
it was ridiculously hard to actually see anything.
Why are we covering this?
Hey, you
Clearly
wanted?
shot on Shitio.
Yeah. Well,
Shitio.
on Shitio. So this character and his girlfriend, this character named Bruce,
And his girlfriend, who isn't named Bruce.
who isn't named Bruce.
They decide to go out for a picnic.
Don't ask me why. I don't even know why they're there. You know.
They're just going out for a picnic in the within the woods. I said the thing.
Oh, that's how they got the title.
Oh.
So anyway, it turns out Bruce is like an archaeologist or something.
And he's like, and he goes like, yeah, this used to be a Native American burial ground here. And the curse, supposedly there's a curse around it with it. As long as you don't desecrate the graves, you should be
So
fine.
then he proceeds to immediately desecrate a grave trying to dig a fire pit.
Yeah.
Way to go, idiot.
Like, it's just like, yeah, make sure you don't desecrate the graves. I'm gonna desecrate this grave.
Well, to be fair, it was a short film.
I mean, true.
So then not Bruce falls asleep at some point. When she wakes up, Bruce isn't there, so not Bruce goes looking for Bruce, and she finds Bruce, although you can't tell that it's Bruce because of how terrible the video quality is.
So here's the thing. We had to watch this. There is no, official release for this film.
We had to watch it bootleg.
We had to watch it bootleg on YouTube.
So I don't think if we actually had the VHS, it would have been much better.
No, I don't think so. Man, you, this is a short film from, the 70s. Shot on, the lowest budget possible. So
anyway, we see some stuff that is totally Bruce apparently, and apparently he's dead, which causes not Bruce, because I can't remember her name, to run back to the house to try and find Scotty and not Scotty.
Who's Scotty?
God damn it.
He was the guy who was playing Monopoly with not Scotty. What, did we not mention that yet? So anyway, now Bruce is all strung up because she just saw, I guess, Bruce dead in the woods. Dead within the woods.
Oh, that's how that... Wait, we already did this bit.
Damn it. I'm still realizing...
So then Scotty goes out into the woods to try and find Bruce.
I didn't even get to do that. I didn't even get to make a Star Trek joke. I'm very upset.
Make your Star Trek joke.
Well, Scotty wasn't playing with not Scotty, but it wasn't Spock or Kirk.
Okay. So it's just a different red shirt.
Yeah, it's just a different red shirt.
So then not Scotty is trying to console not Bruce by convincing her that... it was just a bad dream. But then when Scotty doesn't show back up, then not Scotty goes out to go look for Scotty.
And let me tell you, it's extremely hard. As soon as it hits nightfall for this film, it gets even fucking harder to see. Like, the artifacting isn't the problem, it's the fact that there's fucking no lighting effect in this movie. What was... This was, like, shot on a fucking 8 fucking millimeter reel.
I'm pretty confident this was on a VHS. Because you can see this... If this were on a reel, you wouldn't be seeing nearly as much static.
Maybe. Well, okay, to be fair, though, it could have been shot on an 8 millimeter. And then transferred to a VHS.
Okay, that is fair.
Yes.
Is fair. But for the purposes of this video, it was shot on VHS.
It's a bootleg VHS from the fucking 80s.
So then, does Scotty return?
No, he doesn't.
No, Bruce shows back up to basically terrorize not Bruce.
Yeah, kills not Scotty.
Who showed back up. And at one point, not Bruce, or at one point, Scotty shows back up injured, only to get killed by Bruce.
So, well, no. So what? So not Scotty goes outside to look for Bruce and Scotty. Bruce shows up and stabs her in the neck, and she's dead. So
well, that's not very nice.
She's fully dead.
Somebody told me this was a scary movie.
Oh man!
And then, not Bruce grabs a dagger. Grabs the
dagger that Bruce had dug out of the grave.
Yes, and then accidentally stabs Scotty with it.
She accidentally stabbed Scotty thinking it was Bruce.
Whoopsie poopsie.
Now, why am I getting the weirdest sense of deja vu?
It's probably nothing.
It's probably nothing.
But then Bruce shows up to terrorize, and not Bruce tries to shut the door, but Scotty's in the way.
Scotty's foot is in the way.
So not Bruce has to pull Scotty out of the way and try to basically dismember his feet while still trying to shut the door. It's like, oh, come on! Eventually, not Bruce manages to get the doors locked.
We were dumbfounded when we were watching this. We were like, what the fuck? Huh. So eventually Scotty gets inside and he's like,
dead?
Not Bruce. Get the gun that we put in the cellar for some fucking reason.
So I guess she goes down in the cellar and then I guess comes back up. I don't remember.
And Scotty's dead at this point.
She comes back up.
She comes back up. Fully Scotty's
she's got a handgun.
Yeah, she's got a grab.
We just randomly got a handgun in the basement. It's for hunting.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hunting gun.
It's a hunting hand. It's a hunting Beretta.
So yeah. So they fight. Bruce and not Bruce. They fight. And
not Bruce cuts up. Bruce tries to stab not Bruce with the knife that was found in the witch doctor's graveyard. Grave.
Yep. And then not Bruce stabs Bruce with a different knife.
Mostly cuts off his hand. And so Bruce eats off his hand and throws it to the ground. And then there's a grappling struggle. Not Bruce grabs the knife and stabs Bruce in the back.
And everyone thinks, and
then the movie is over.
Yeah.
Until Scotty sits back up.
Yeah, until Scotty sits back up. So what would you rate this movie?
I'd give it a 0. Too much VHS artifacting. Too much water.
Damn.
Too much water.
Too much water. Too much water.
Not enough Monopoly.
What is that a reference to? I can't remember.
I think it was Hercule. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. If I remember correctly.
I think it was the original one. It's not the Omega. IGN gave it a negative review saying it had too much water or something.
It wasn't even an overly negative review. That was just like one of the cons they had. It's like,
yes.
Okay, in a game whose whole plot is we need more water or we need more land, there was too much water.
Too much water. 0 out of 10.
God damn it. Damn.
They must have fucking hated Wind Waker.
No, this is like a 4. Give it a 4.
It's like a 5. This is a clearly low budget film made on the cheap. You know what? It feels like it was a proof of concept film. What did you think of it?
No, sir, I don't like it.
No, sir, I don't like it.
Well, I guess we wrapped that up quickly.
God, wow,
we
10 minutes.
Probably get to recommendations since we kind of skipped that part.
Wait, I think we're forgetting something. Oh, that's right. This isn't the film that we're reviewing today.
What?
What?
Oh, you didn't tell me this, do I?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I got mixed
You
up.
whore!
I got mixed up. So this, if you haven't noticed with the whole Bruce and Scotty thing,
Or, just looking down at the title of this video,
Yeah, or looking at
this
the-
podcast.
well, maybe they're idiots. I don't know.
I mean, they could be. Or,
They can't read. That's why they got to go to the podcast to get all their information.
That's why they gotta like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell.
Oh no!
You gotta tell them.
You gotta do all three.
You gotta do all four.
Four.
There's four now.
You gotta hit the bell.
Yeah.
Oh god!
I know.
You two became way too complicated.
Get in the comments, gang. But this short film was filmed by a young, up-and-coming, ambitious director by the name of Sam Raimi.
With the help of his friend Bruce Campbell.
So what is it we're reviewing today? The original Evil Dead.
Woo!
Whoa.
Woo!
Whoa.
And right off the bat, young Bruce Campbell looks adorable. He's like a little baby.
Yeah, Evil Dead 1 released in, I think it was May 80, definitely 81. This is definitely an early 80s film.
Oh, I'm gonna fact check you on that. You keep talking.
It was certainly one of the video nasties when it came out in the UK.
Oh yes, it was X-rated when it first released, and to this day holds an NC-17 rating because they never bothered to get it re-rated. Any other re-release of this film has just gone unrated.
October 15th, sorry. In 81.
Okay, 81.
81. Yes. So this was produced by Robert Tappert. He's gone on to do a couple of other films, but I think this is probably the biggest one that he's produced. I can't remember. And this was distributed by New Line Cinema, who are also famous for Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th later on.
Yeah, but mostly Nightmare.
But mostly Nightmare, yeah.
At least in the realm of horror.
Yes. It was on a budget of $375,000 and ended up grossing $29.4 million, which is a very nice return.
So the film follows 5 characters: Scotty, his girlfriend Shelley, Ashley, his girlfriend Linda, and his girlfriend Cheryl.
His girlfriend.
Yes.
His sister Cheryl.
I'm confused.
Wait, that's a girlfriend twice.
You said girlfriend twice.
His sister Cheryl.
Yes.
I can understand why you would make that because
I should
within
have said Cheryl first.
in Within the Woods, Bruce Campbell is played opposite of the character that would play Shelley. So Cheryl.
Cheryl. Yeah, Ellen Sandwise.
Have you seen my daughter Cheryl?
I feel like that's a direct reference to.
Very well could be.
I mean, considering how much that game references other horror authors.
Yeah. Yup.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So anyway, they're going to some secluded cabin that none of them have actually ever been to before. Because,
Way to scope out your vacation spot.
Yeah, because from what I understand, Scotty was like, "Yeah, I heard about this cabin from a couple of other folks, and I hear it's really fucking cool." It's like, okay, and you're just gonna believe them at face value.
So they get there and it's a piece of shit that's falling apart practically.
And they're driving Sam Raimi's old Oldsmobile, the classic.
The classic. It's got a nickname. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but it shows up in almost all of Sam Raimi's films. It's like his.
It itself is a character throughout the series.
Yes.
In some ways.
It's yes, and it is owned by Sam Raimi.
So anyway, they're checking out the cabin. Ash and Scotty go down to the basement to check some stuff out. Find that there are some incredibly, terribly leaky pipes.
Yeah. So, first off the bat, we're getting we're getting some of these spooky effects where stuff moves on its own. You get shadows, some really cool camera work in the film. The camera work is top notch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like something is calling to them. It's beckoning them to stay.
Or stalking them, even.
Or stalking them, even. Yeah.
So they find a shotgun, a book,
and a
Hills cover,
and a Hills Have Eyes poster. That's just in the background.
Nice.
And a reel-to-reel tape deck.
Hey, have you guys done that movie yet?
No, we haven't.
That's something to add to the docket.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, Hills Have Eyes, I'd be down for, but then, like, Last House on the Left is one of the ones where it's like, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad.
I've seen it once. No thanks.
Yeah, it's a movie.
The remake's way more tame, actually. So speaking of...
So they all decide to just kind of listen to this tape that they found in the basement.
Right, and Cheryl's the one that's the most sensitive to everything. She's the one that's getting stalked the most.
Oh, it's also worth noting that they find a shotgun down there.
Yes, they do.
That's the first thing I mentioned.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes. They found a shotgun. They found a book with a funky cover.
Yes.
Then you interjected with the Hills Have Eyes poster, and then the tape reel-to-reel.
You said a book with funky cover, and all I can think now is now with funky mode included. It's just got a sticker slapped on the cover.
Does it have big head mode too?
It might.
No, that's extra.
That's extra. Get paid.
Damn it! That's a cheat code they got to unlock. Yeah. I gotta perfect my run.
But basically, they listen to the tape, which is of this archaeologist who basically found this book in... Where was it? It wasn't anywhere near where the film is actually set.
Kandaria.
Yeah, that's it.
Kandar.
Yeah, which is like... I think...
Like Canada or Canada, which is it? I never can remember.
It's like a old Mesopotamian kingdom that doesn't actually exist.
So they just start listening to the guy basically reading the book on tape.
Yep. And it's like,
much to Cheryl's freaking out in this.
Mind you, Cheryl's had it worse than everybody else so far. She's already fucking paranoid, and she already had a pretty paranormal experience because she was drawing in her sketchbook, right?
Uh-huh.
And for something was compelling her to draw, and she accidentally sort of tore it up, and it looked like it was a
the book.
She drew the Book of the Dead.
She drew the Book of the Dead, which is what this book is. It's the Book of the Dead.
It's the Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. Yes.
Yes.
But it's not called the Necronomicon in this.
The Necronomicon?
Yeah. But it's not called that in this movie. It's called something else.
Necronomicon something something something.
Necronomicon Ex Mortis.
Nope.
No?
No.
No?
No, I
Naturum Demento. That's what it was called in this book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You'd think I would know that, considering how often I've seen this movie. Actually, no, I really haven't watched this movie that often, because usually I jump to the sequel, but, you know, that's for another day. What sequel?
Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
No, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about Jason versus Freddy versus Ash.
No.
Yes. There it is.
That's it.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
There's a house joke to be made somewhere, because in Italy they called it like House of the Dead or something, and then somehow the House films got roped into the Italian franchise of Evil Dead, and there's a whole story there that we could go into. Unfortunately,
there's a whole story for going into how random movies just kind of get wound up into franchises in Italy.
Yeah.
You mean like how the Frankenstein movies got tied in with Godzilla?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Like a lot of the Godzilla movies over in Germany got Frankenstein's name slapped into the title.
Okay.
As though Frankenstein were in any way involved.
Because supposedly, originally, Godzilla vs. King Kong was supposed to be Godzilla vs. Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, I think Godzilla wins.
No, it was originally King Kong versus
yes, King.
That's a whole other... That's a whole other story worth getting into another time. Maybe over on my other channel.
So they're reading. The incantations are being read, right? And Cheryl's freaking the fuck out. And Scotty is a fucking asshole. I remember there's a line earlier in the movie where when the cellar opens and they're all looking inside and they go, maybe it's an animal.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
He goes down into the cellar, and then Ash follows him down and can't find Scotty, and then Scotty jump scares him.
Yeah.
That's before they find the shotgun.
Scotty's an asshole in this movie. He's also the most proactive out of everybody in the movie, too, which is probably his undoing.
So then Cheryl flees the cabin into the woods, which does not end well for her. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, yeah. So they read the incantations and a branch fucking breaks through one of the windows, and Ash is like, sorry, within the woods still on the mic.
That's fair. I'm desperately struggling not to call him Bruce on this film.
And so Ash is like, what the fuck, Scotty? I fucking told you she didn't want to listen to that shit. And Scotty, astutely points out, well, you could have turned it off too. You were interested in hearing it. And so Cheryl sees something out in the woods, and what does she decide to do? She decides, I'm going to go out and look for it, because she's got no survival skills.
And then something horrible happens to her that has some great effects, but yeah.
She gets assaulted by trees. Let's leave it
at that.
Let's leave it at that.
I think you're getting your timeline of events here a little mixed up, because she does go to her room for a little while.
She goes back to her room.
Then she goes back outside. She doesn't go outside immediately after the tape scene.
She doesn't run outside, but she sees something back and goes outside to investigate, which is not the smartest thing to do, largely because you're in the middle of the woods in bumfuck nowhere.
To get attacked by an animal.
You could get attacked by an animal.
An animal? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Fucking Scott. Scotty's great. So yeah, Cheryl gets assaulted by trees. I'm just leaving that there.
And she is clearly upset by this when she returns to the cabin.
Everybody can see that she was just assaulted by fucking something. And they're like, you're freaking out over nothing. What the fuck's the matter with you?
They're very dismissive of
her
situation.
At the very least, Ash is like, just take a moment and listen to yourself.
Yeah, Ash is they're around the same age. I forget if Ash is the younger brother. But overall, he's trying to fucking calm her down, and Scotty's dismissive of it. Linda's dismissive of it. What the fuck her other name is?
Shelly?
Shelly is dismissive
also,
of it.
how weird is that? We get two characters, one named Cheryl and one named Shelly.
Yeah.
And then Linda's just there to break the chain. So come on, Linda. Shape up.
Just wait until the sequel.
Get a better, more alliterative name.
But Ash is at least sympathetic to Cheryl's plight, and it seems like it's hinted not outright stated, but slightly hinted that this may be something that
has happened before.
It sounds like Cheryl is not all there mentally. Might have a couple of disorders.
But Ash agrees to drive her back to town.
Yeah.
That is until they find that the bridge has been destroyed.
Yep.
And they don't know any other way out of town.
And Cheryl continues to freak the fuck out over this, because now she's convinced that it's not gonna let her leave. And
she just gets worse over the course of the film.
She gets fucking real bad. And it's but it makes sense. She just got assaulted by trees. She was being stalked by something. She saw it. Whatever it was.
It.
And she fucking...
alien spider, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha. No. That's defeated by the power of love.
Yep.
God, fucking hell. But don't forget the kids had to have an orgy before they turned into adults.
Oh, God.
Thanks, Stephen King.
Thanks a lot.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Okay.
Yep. So it's in Stephen King's It, which was
Let's just move on.
in the book, not in the movies.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay. So, anyways,
There's no getting past that. So yeah.
Not if you want to finish the book.
So Ash and Cheryl go back to the cabin, and Shelly and Linda are fucking around with cards, and they're dicking around with like a psychic. They're like seeing if one or the other has ESP or whatever.
Because like they're just drawing cards and having the other guess.
Yep.
And Shelley's being a bit of a dick by being like, "Oh, you got it," when clearly Linda is just absolutely hitting the worst guesses.
Yep. And Cheryl's in the corner just staring out a window. You know.
It's like Peter Venkman at the beginning of Ghostbusters.
That is exactly right. He's such a dick in that movie. Well, he's also trying to get into that girl's pants too.
Well, yeah, but...
So it's like.
So is that what Shelley's trying to do?
Yes. Bruce. Meanwhile, he's off near.
Ash.
Sorry. Yes. It's Bruce Campbell.
I know.
Ash is off in his corner. He's actually listening to the. He's listening to the recording.
But like on headphones.
So nobody else is hearing.
Before they even listen to the book, or maybe it's before Cheryl leaves the cabin. Ash gives Linda this like necklace with a magnifying glass on it, which is actually super important to the plot, kind of.
So, I was kind of reading about this. Apparently, there was a whole subplot that got cut from the movie that hinged on this necklace, and they didn't want to have to reshoot all the scenes because they kind of shot this over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So they just had to like make up something new with it, and that's the only reason it's in the movie.
Yeah. And Bruce has talked about this necklace in the past. He was like, it was such a cheap piece of fucking crap. Dude, you could feel the fucking paint rubbing off on it.
Yeah.
But Sam was very insistent that they use it.
This was like a super indie film.
Yeah. This was basically a souped up indie film that he managed to get funding for, because he literally had to go. He did the George Romero. He literally had to go to friends and shit and was like, "Hey, I need funding for this movie."
Yeah, Bruce Campbell mortgaged his family home to get this movie funded, which is why he's credited as a co-producer on it.
Bruce Campbell, you know, without exaggeration, made this film. Mm-hmm. He was with Sam Raimi every step of the way.
He is just as important to it as Raimi was, as Tappert was,
and just as much as Ted was,
mm-hmm.
as a you know, the stage director essentially.
Yeah.
Who's Ted?
Sam's brother.
Oh.
Ted Raimi. Yep.
He's one of the fake shimps that's listed at the end of the movie.
Yep.
Anyway, getting back to Linda and Shelley trying to play psychic. And then Cheryl, who's not even looking in their direction, just starts correctly guessing what's on the cards.
And ook'em spookum, she fucking turns around and it's such a great visual.
Mm. This movie is just loaded with such great visuals. Like I could just take screenshots of this film and like throw them up as wallpapers on my computer and just have them rotate and just there'd be tons of shit to you know, just be like, oh, that's a good shot. Ooh, that's a good shot.
Sam Raimi's a fucking great director, and I don't know who his cinematographer was, but...
At some point, Cheryl knocks Ash into the bookshelf, which collapses onto him.
Yeah, so she's like, so she's possessed. Cheryl is fully possessed by a demon, and she's like, oh, why have you disturbed our fucking slumber, you assholes? We're gonna kill you.
You're all gonna die.
You're all gonna die.
Down here.
So they lock her in the cellar.
You're all gonna fuck you. Fuck you with the Resident Evil reverend.
I couldn't hold it in.
So they lock her in the cellar.
There's a whole fucking scene where she throws, she's possessed, and then she collapses, and Ash and Shelly, I think, are going to
Ash and Linda
are going to check up on her, and it's she's playing dead.
It's kind of worth noting that Scotty's not in the room at the moment.
Yeah, so what happens is she collapses, and then Scotty comes in, and he goes from the left screen to the right, and then he goes, "What the fuck happened?"
I thought that was such an odd shot given everything else that it's just like he enters from stage like left and then walks all the way to stage right and then turns around and is like, "What happened here? What's going on?"
Well, he just wanted to take the scenic route to get a better view.
And there is a really nasty visual
Ooh, yeah.
where
Cheryl grabs a pencil and stabs Linda in the ankle,
and it's gnarly.
It's right up there with Pet Sematary.
Really bad. And it's like she breaks that thing off in Linda. So
that shot lingers.
And so Linda is incapacitated. Cheryl fucking throws Ash into a bookcase, and you're gonna hear this a lot. There's a lot of scenes where Bruce
Ash gets thrown into things.
Ash gets fucked up on a lot of furniture,
And he has to sell it.
And he does sell it.
And according to like everybody who was on set for that, there were a lot of fucking injuries. I think Bruce cracked his ribs on that stunt, hitting himself on the bookcase, because he hits it and then he has to wrap his arm around it.
That's later in the movie.
No, it happens twice.
It happens twice. Yeah, there's two bookcases. So he crashes.
I meant the wrapping the arm around.
But he has to force it down on him. So he has to wrap his arm around it and then have it fall over, and then he's gonna be like, I can't get up. This 30-pound bookcase.
It's too heavy.
It's too heavy. And so Cheryl's gonna stab him with the fucking pencil again, and then Scotty comes in, fucking bing bang boom, kicks her into the cellar, and locks her up in there. And Ash,
chains and all, because apparently this cellar has like a whole chain set up.
And there's
for some reason.
There's a great scene where Scotty is just. He's on it.
He's just standing. He's just like sitting, not sitting, but like kneeling on the trap board while he's locking it up, and it just keeps going boom, 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 boom.
And he just sort of looks up at Ash. He's like, "What the fuck?" And so they're stuck there now. They can't go anywhere. They can't leave Cheryl like this. So they're sort of
even if they wanted to, because the bridge is out.
Yeah, because the bridge is out. So they're like, "What the fuck, man?" And so Scotty, Cheryl, and Ash, they're sort of sitting around. They're trying to figure out what the fuck. Linda's incapacitated. Her ankle's fucking just busted now.
And Cheryl is just taunting them from the cellar.
God, there's so many great visuals. Because there's a camera shot that is from Cheryl's perspective, from underneath the
a sweeping panning shot.
Looking through the living room to the cellar door.
And
I absolutely love when Shelly is like, "And what is wrong with her eyes?"
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with her eyes? And it's
as if everything else about her isn't fucked up too.
It's probably the fact that her eyes are now basically pink.
Yeah,
she's pink.
She's got like white contact lenses in now, so now
not like a fleshy pink, like a neon pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like not quite glowing, but it's like if you looked at it, it would have had like the visual of the glowing. So
yeah,
so obviously she's seeing that in the dark through the doorway to the dark cellar, and that's obviously gonna stand out.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like shit. Great makeup effect for basically the rest of the movie. Which I think we'll get to after we get done with the recommendations.
Okay. You start.
All right. Well, lately I've been watching Tales from the Dark Side,
Okay.
which is similar to the Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt in that it's an anthology horror series. Directed by George Romero.
Never heard of them.
It's basically what they had intended to do with Creepshow, but they couldn't get the rights to Creepshow, so they just called it something else.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's got some good episodes. I remember there's one, A Case of the Stubborns, where this old guy just absolutely refuses to listen to everybody around him who tell him that he's dead, that he died like the night before, until that night his grandson, played by a young Christian Slater, basically uses pepper he got from a voodoo lady to cause the old man to sneeze his own nose off.
Oof. That's rough.
And that finally convinces him that, yes, he's dead.
Oh, no.
Oh, they even get the actor who played Data to play a priest who's like, yeah, no, you're dead. You're dead.
Nice.
Like, really dead? You wanna go to God? Because he's clearly calling you, because you're dead.
You want to go lie down?
You stink.
Brent Spiner.
That is it.
Yep, I had to think for a second.
But then you get some really creepy episodes like Answer Me, where this woman keeps hearing a phone going off in the room next door, and nobody's living there. And it just keeps ringing off the hook, driving her insane.
Yeah, that'd be pretty creepy.
So yeah, great show, great, worth checking out.
You got a recommendation?
I had one, but I can't remember what it was, so maybe I'll throw it in at the end if I remember it.
Okay. So, these two know that just recently I managed to net myself a new Dreamcast. Not new, but an old one.
A new old Dreamcast.
A new old Dreamcast.
It's new to me.
Sega's last console from 1999. And so I decided I'm going to recommend a game from that. I recommend Illbleed.
Never heard of it.
It's fucking weird.
Let me just say, if you like The Evil Dead, you probably like Illbleed.
You'll probably like Illbleed. It's like Evil Dead, but fucking wacky. And if it was in an amusement park, and it's so weird. It's like Goosebumps Welcome to Horrorland? It's kind of like that.
But like cranked up?
But cranked up to 11. It's really good, but it's really fucking hard as well. It's really easy to just sort of fucking die in that game.
Just fucking die.
Just fucking die.
Who can die?
And it's got such a wild plot.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of the scenes in that game, it's like, it's got a fucking talking bat, a talking baseball bat of all fucking things.
It's like a whole level dedicated to a horror parody of Toy Story.
Yeah, it's just
absolutely bizarre.
So yeah, I definitely recommend it. There's like a whole thing where like, oh, if you want to escape a fight, your character will look up, start waving, and a helicopter will come in and drop a fucking ladder. It's just like, all right, we're out of here. And it's like, even when you're indoors, it does that. You'll just look up.
Like it does absolutely nothing to try and make itself take itself seriously.
It is the best kind of self-aware horror comedy. So that's my recommendation, Illbleed. I definitely recommend getting more. Definitely check out some Dreamcast games. There's a lot of
hidden gems on there.
A lot of hidden gems on there, and it's a shame that there's only 267 American games compared to the 600 that came out in Japan and elsewhere. Although most of them were visual novels, so it's not like...
It's not like a huge genre here in the States.
Well, no. There's only the most recent one I can think of that was really big was Doki Doki Literature Club.
And that was big for reasons other than that it was a visual novel.
Yeah. That and Danganronpa and Ace Attorney. Those are the big three that I can think of in the U.S.
Okay.
What? The 9-9?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out Zero Escape. Zero Escape is just as big as Danganronpa.
Okay, sure.
It is.
Sure. I mean, I haven't played them, though.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I was gonna say another good one is House in Fata Morgana, but that's I don't really know much about that one. I just know it was kind of big a couple of years ago.
And but DDLC is probably the big one recently.
Yeah.
In like the last 6 years.
Sure.
Sure. All right. So what do you guys? So I mean, obviously all three of us love this movie.
Obviously.
I hate it. It stinks.
It stinks.
Yeah.
Who's
Hate
your? Oh, damn. Well,
Scathing criticism.
Scathing criticism. Damn.
No, I love this movie.
This movie's great.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it like an 8 or a 9 8.5 out of 10. I think 8.5 out of 10. The cinematography is top notch.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think?
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
It's a 10 out of 10.
I mean, the whole trilogy is in that range,
What are you
though.
talking about?
Yeah, what trilogy?
I don't know.
There's only 4 Evil Dead movies.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, I'm glad you got what I'm glad you got that joke from what I meant. There's like 4 Evil Dead movies and one that might be related. I don't know.
Yes.
Who's your favorite character?
Do you even need to ask?
I mean, it could be Scotty.
It's definitely not Scotty.
If there's anything I came away from is that Ted Raimi's the GOAT.
Oh, yes. Damn, I didn't know you were playing Evil Dead, the video game, where Ted Raimi plays the fucking... The midget.
Oh, God.
The undead...
It's not even the first video game.
No, it's not. There's a Commodore 64 Evil Dead game, actually. It's not great,
But it's a game.
but it's a game.
That you could totally get for free if you bought another game.
Oh, I mean, you could just play it on...
By accident.
You could just play it on...
No, I
like,
mean,
abandoned-
back then it was accidentally pressed on the B-side of another game.
Whoops!
Oopsie poopsie.
Oopsie poopsie.
And considering that this was, at the time, a video nasty, the fact that there was a video game based on it, and it was accidentally being sold at a cheaper price than a AAA game.
Ah, well. It happens.
AAA game back in the time.
So Ash is everyone's...
Weird thing to think about.
I know.
Ash is everyone's favorite character, huh?
Oh, obviously.
Duh.
Duh. He it's interesting how everybody sort of reacts in this movie. Without getting too much into spoilers, Ash has probably the most interesting transformation in the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he starts off as just a giant coward. And then he's unfortunately forced into a position where he has to act.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes probably the smartest decision of his life, where he just stands pat. He does not go anywhere. He figures staying where he is now is probably the safest thing that he could possibly do.
Yeah, admittedly, I forgot a lot of what happens during the latter half of this movie, for good reason, because once we watch it again, it's like, oh, I forgot that this was so awesome.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes of the film is so great. It's so good. The finale is spectacular.
Yeah, I love that there's this bit where, like, for the most part of the movie, it's like, oh, there's this pure mayhem of, like, oh, there's, some sort of monster of some sort attacking you. But then there just gets to be, like, this part where it's just kind of quiet. There's nothing going on. It's just Ash slowly going crazy.
Yes. And there's a theme of sorts, throughout the next couple of films where Ash is... There's a moment where Ash, in the films, just snaps.
He just comes unhinged.
He just becomes unhinged, and it's where... anybody who's watched the later series, it's where we get the famous version of Ash.
Yeah, that's where we get the Ashley Williams.
This is very much like... this is normal Ash. Everything after is...
lost his mind.
He's traumatized. He's lost his mind. All the shit that's happened to him. He visibly in this movie. You mentioned it. He visibly ages. he looks like he visibly ages like 10 years, which is funny because the next film's not going to come out for another 6. And he starts off looking, chubby, and then he
kind of dumpy. It's not like the chiseled features. He projects.
Yeah, he doesn't have the legendary chin that he doesn't have the legendary jawline that he has in later films. But by the second half of the film, it's like, okay, he looks like what Ash looks like in like later films. Mm-hmm. But he's got all the scarring and shit like that. And he gets fucked up throughout the film.
So shall we continue on with the
yes.
second half?
Yes, let's do that. So Shelley goes back to her room. And then, oopsie doopsie, something breaks through the window and attacks her.
And she goes missing, so Scotty goes looking for her.
Except Scotty doesn't find Shelley. Shelley finds him.
And mayhem.
And then more mayhem ensues. She's become possessed as well. And she's an even bigger threat than Cheryl, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, because she's not locked up in the cell.
Yes. Exactly. Well, yeah.
For starters.
For starters, yeah.
And the entire time, Cheryl is just there cackling, taunting him even more.
And so, yeah, Scotty and Ash are having to fight Shelley, the possessed Shelley.
At one point, the knife they found in the basement, which I forgot to mention.
They found a knife, too.
A dagger.
A dagger.
Some, like, ritual dagger.
Although I think it is a knife in this one, because I don't think it's double-edged.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It looks like a spike to me.
Yeah, it looks more like a spike than anything.
And we get that scene from within the woods. They stab the hand.
And the Deadite, let's just call it what it is,
a Deadite. Yep.
Chews its own hand off in an incredibly visceral scene.
Deja vu.
So,
even more so than in that.
Yeah, because there's a funny scene where Scotty knocks the Deadite out, and she falls into the fire pit on fire, and Scotty's like, "Oh God!" Pulls her out, and she's like, "Ah, thanks. I don't know what I would have done without you." And immediately goes back to trying to kill him. The Deadites have there's a very morbid sense of humor.
Sam Raimi's style and Bruce Campbell even, their whole thing was very, very slapstick Three Stooges influence.
Yes.
In a horror movie.
And applying that to a horror movie setting is just like a stroke of brilliance.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And the humor is much more subdued in this movie. It's not played for laughs.
I mean, could you say this is the first horror comedy?
Maybe.
To an extent?
Maybe, but I feel like this was...
Abbott and Costello versus whatever monster they
encountered. Yeah, fair enough.
Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
That's more of a pure comedy, though, with just the horror.
That's a parody.
Yeah.
That's a parody of horror movies.
But if you're asking the question, what's the first horror comedy, then yes, technically.
Yeah. But is this the first one where it blends the horror and the comedy seamlessly?
Yeah,
I would not know, for sure.
See, I'd say the sequel is probably much better.
What sequel?
Either that or American Werewolf in London.
I think that was later, though.
That one was like 85.
That one's definitely a horror comedy, though.
Yes.
I still need to see that.
But I feel like the jokes in this movie are not played for laughs. They're
trying to.
They're played straight. It's the Deadites are fucking with them, and they're having a ball doing so. It's not being played for laughs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We're like in later.
They almost play like the role of like the kind of person who goes to see like a slasher flick or something and is rooting for the killer to off the teens. That's kind of their role in this.
Yes,
Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
it's a line of seeing The Exorcist how many times and it keeps getting funnier.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
They're like Beetlejuice.
So the Deadites, they enjoy fucking with them. And here's the thing, Ash is not a hero in this movie. He is a dirty fucking coward.
Ash is never a hero.
Well, he's not portrayed as particularly heroic.
Right, but I mean,
He doesn't go out of his way to fight.
There's more to be discussed after running through the whole series, but like, Ash is like, I don't want to say never, but like he is very rarely a hero.
Anyway, getting back to Shelley gnawing her own hand off.
Right, Shelley gnaws her own hand off, but...
in a scene that is a lot more extended in the movie compared to Within the Woods.
Yeah, Within the Woods.
Within the Woods, it happens pretty quickly. But it's like, they keep cutting back to her gnawing her hand off.
And Scotty's just like, I think I'm gonna throw up. And so, yeah, Scotty uses the ritual dagger that was...
It still has Shelley's hand on it.
Still has Shelley's hand on it and stabs her, and we get a whole scene where Shelley falls over and starts spurting fucking milk and shit.
Blah.
Blah. And she's
spurting blood out of a stump and like milk out of her mouth. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, and it's spraying. It's like an alien when they knock Ash's.
When they knock Ash over.
And he starts spurting a bunch of fucking liquid and shit. It's kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
And that was only 3 years before.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At this point, it becomes a splatter movie.
At this point, yeah, it becomes a full-on splatter film. But like I said, Ash has an axe in hand, and he does
nothing.
He does fucking nothing. He's fully blue screened. He's just like,
rebooting.
So then Scotty has to take the axe from Ash and just chop his girlfriend.
First he tells him to hit her.
Yeah.
And Ash is just like, what?
Yeah, Ash is like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like I said, Scotty is the most proactive person in the film. He's the man in action, but that's what gets him.
He's the one reacting and not panicking.
Yes. Exactly. Well, yeah. Which is funny, which is the Bruce Campbell fucking quote where he goes, Ash is a survivor. He doesn't panic. Panickers die in these movies.
Yeah, he panics early on.
He fucking panics early on. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
It's not like over the top panic. It's like deer headlights panicking.
Yeah, he fully freezes up. He's Windows from the Thing. He just and that's what gets him killed in that movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Scotty. So Shelley comes back to life. The Deadite comes back to life because it's like, I'm not dead, motherfucker.
So Scotty grabs the axe and just absolutely butches his girlfriend.
Which begs the question: what's the point of the dagger?
The rules of the Deadites throughout the series, they tend to change a lot. You just kind of have to accept that it's never consistent and just roll with it. And it's probably better for it.
Yes.
Yeah, like in this first movie at the very least, the dagger is just there.
I mean, if there was like a set of instructions that was like, here's how to beat a Deadite, it's like, well, that would make the Deadites like less interesting.
Yeah. I think what the dagger does, they're supposed to do, is it weakens them just enough that you'd be able to defeat them with conventional weaponry.
Probably. That seems to be the case, at least in this film.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, the dagger never shows up again. Who knows where the fuck it goes?
Yeah, because once they hack Shelley up, her pieces just keep flopping around.
Yep. Yeah.
So Ash and Scotty...
It shows up again.
Okay.
Yep. I'll bring it up when it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, they take what remains of Shelley and bury her in the backyard, basically.
Yep.
Oh fuck.
And so Ash and Scotty, they bury Shelley. They put a cross on her grave.
I like the scene where it's like, you killed Shelley. You killed Shelley. What do we do now? Well, Shelley's dead. We bury her. Just like matter of fact, like, like the adrenaline is finished coursing through, and now you're at your rock bottom. It's just like instinctual reaction here.
Scotty's.
Well, we buried it.
Scotty's fucking. He's coming down real hard.
is like, okay, we need to get out of here. And Ash is like, no, we can't.
We can't.
Linda can't walk. She can't move on that leg.
Like, Ash doesn't know about the trees being alive, and neither does Scotty or anything.
Well, I mean, they were warned. But
They were warned.
They were
they
warned.
didn't believe it.
They didn't believe it, but Ash is looking at it from a more pragmatic view. He's thinking of it like, let's just wait till morning, then we'll get Linda out of here, and then we'll come back with, we'll do something. We just gotta wait till morning. And Scotty's like, fuck this! I'm getting the fuck out of here.
So he leaves to go to try and find another way out of the woods.
And that's and ultimately,
Whoa!
Not much of a spoiler here. That's what gets him killed. Because he ends up getting attacked by trees. He comes back a little later. Ends up getting attacked by trees, and that's what ends up killing him. Because he's the most proactive out of everyone.
Yes.
Well, while he's gone, Ash goes to check on Linda,
And there's a great.
Oh yeah.
There's a great stop motion scene where
great stop motion composite shot of basically what looks like her skin shattering.
Yeah.
and she becomes a deadite. And throughout like the next 15 minutes,
she's just sitting there laughing.
She just sits there and does fucking nothing. Linda
Her and Cheryl just menace the entire time. They're just menacing.
Yeah. And Ash is losing his fucking shit. And he's like, what the fuck do? I don't have Scotty here.
And then Scotty shows back up, absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, he looks fucked up. He's got a bone sticking out of his arm. He's got a giant stick lodged into his stomach. And
I love how Cheryl's just banging on the trap door trying to get out still, but laughing her ass off, and Linda's just calmly sitting in the doorway just giggling.
Yeah. It's such a good scene, that next 15
Ash
minutes.
starts to lose it and starts slapping her.
And then Linda comes back for a moment. And I was like, please help me. Ash, you gotta help me. And then Cheryl from the basement's like, Ash, I'm alright. I'm okay.
Just unchain the door and let me out. We're fine now. It's over.
It's over. And so Ash goes over. He's about to unlock it. And then fucking Cheryl's hands come through the floor. I'm okay, Ash. Let me out.
It's just like, it's kind of counterproductive on the Deadites end. It's like, they don't really get what they want if they're going to tip their hand right away. But,
they're impatient.
Yeah, they are impatient.
I think we also astutely pointed out that they like to take their time. They don't like going the direct route.
Yes.
They enjoy fucking about.
Yes.
And so eventually Linda finally decides to attack.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is where the dagger comes back into play.
Right, okay. But it doesn't show up again in the sequels, is what I meant.
No, it does.
Oh, does it?
Oh, yeah, it's a huge part of the series.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely shows up. It doesn't look the same in the sequel.
Gotcha.
If you recall, it's got we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later when we get there. But, so eventually Ash drags Linda outside.
Because she's dead now.
Hold on. I want to point out a scene here because there's this whole part where Linda's trying to stab Ash. She's got the dagger in both hands. She's like overhead trying to thrust down at Ash, and Ash has just got her arms, and it's like, so that scene's pretty incredible because this entire time she's had these contact lenses in that obscure her vision, and she's running around with a real knife.
Oh yeah,
overhead.
that's right.
She is completely blind in those scenes.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell was fearing for his life.
And then it flips on its head a few minutes later after Linda gets killed, quote unquote killed. Because according to the recordings, the only way to really deal with these, that's how they dealt with Shelley, was to dismember them. So he takes Linda out into the shed in the back, which I conveniently they never really show, do they?
No,
up
not
until
really.
this
No,
point.
yeah, not really.
So it's just kind of there. Takes her out, straps her onto a table. There's a chainsaw there. He gets it all revved up. And then this is another incredible scene of he's holding this real chainsaw with a real blade up to this real woman's neck, and it is running. And you can tell that Linda's definitely not dead because her pulse is going. It's like, okay.
And that shit is out.
Yeah, and it's like Ash.
He sees the necklace. He sees the necklace that he gave her earlier, and he's like, I can't do this.
I can't do this. This whole situation fucking sucks. So he drags her outside and starts digging up the grave, and then Linda decides, ha! I'm not dead, motherfucker.
No, he buries her, then finds the necklace on the ground and goes to grab it up, and then she reaches out of the grave to try and get him.
Right. And then he chops her head off.
Oh, it gloriously tops her head off midair.
Midair with a shovel. and so Linda's sitting there, her head, she's like buried in the ground, like with her head above. Obviously, and she's like, ha 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 ha, while the body is just spurting blood onto his face, and it's like she's making love to him.
Yes, and this is kind of a thing that gets brought up because you had the tree scene earlier, and a lot of people say that was a bridge too far. And the actress who plays Cheryl, she's gone on to say, well, there was this whole other scene where Linda's trying to rape Ash, so like rape is evil either way.
Right. All rape is bad. Hashtag all rape bad.
Yep.
But yeah, and so she's done for the rest of the movie. We don't know if she's still alive or if she's actually dead, but she's done for the rest of the movie. So Ash goes back inside, and whoopsie doodle, the trap door is broken open.
And Cheryl's on the loose.
And yeah, Scotty is still fucking dead because he collapses.
I think it's at this point that Bruce also finds out that yes, he did pass on. He's gone.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Well, yeah, that's right before the fight with Linda. He's talking with Scotty, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll wait till morning, and then we'll get out of here, and everything's gonna be all right."
He's trying to give him a drink.
Yeah, trying to give him a drink. He's like, "You'd like that, right, Scotty? We'll be able to get out of here in the morning."
Oh God, Scotty!
And Scotty's dead, and he's like, "Oh God, I'm by myself! Oh no!" And then the fight with Linda happens, and Scotty fucking bowls over onto the ground. Linda fucking throws him down. So yeah, and he's like, the trap door's open, and so Ash is like, oh fuck, fuck.
This whole movie is just a series of oh fucks.
So he goes down into the basement to try and find Cheryl.
And this is like probably the high watermark of the cinematography of the film. Because there's a scene where there's leaky pipes, and it looks like it's leaking blood and everything. And Ash is looking at it, he's like, what the fuck? And then it breaks, and it just all goes on him, and he's like,
he just gets absolutely covered in gore.
Ash gets so fucked up in the...
And there's this wonderful little bit where there's a film projector in the basement that fires off. It starts running, and all this blood that's going everywhere lands on like the lens of the film, or the output of the film. So
right.
The lens of the projector.
The lens.
Yes,
the lens.
That's it. And you just get this nice scene of like Ash getting covered in blood as the wall behind him gets covered in blood from the visual of the film projector. And that was a reference to when they were shopping the movie around, and one of their investors gave them the advice of make sure the blood never stops like flowing on screen. And that is a direct reference to the advice that they had been given.
But but while he's getting poured on the face too, there's another great scene where the camera cuts to like an electric socket, and then blood just starts.
So that is such a good. That is such a good visual.
Oh yeah.
Sam Raimi is so good with visuals, and it's very clear that he is a cameraman. He's a cinematography director. Especially when you look at like the Spider-Man films too, he's very good at that. And so Ash eventually, because the only reason that Ash goes down into the basement is he goes to grab the shotgun and the shotgun shells, because he's like, where the fuck are the shotgun shells? And he looks over and there's the open cellar, and he's like, the fuck, I gotta go in there.
He's got the shotgun, but they already like used it.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah,
now I'm questioning myself. What did they shoot at?
Yeah,
he grabs the Scotty brings it up.
Or did they not use it yet?
They didn't use it yet.
Okay,
but Cheryl attacks Ash, and Ash shoots her in the face because she's outside.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's after Ash gets back up to the...
No, that's before. Because
he shoots her. He shoots her through the window while still in the cellar.
No, well, he gets back inside after, killing Linda, and he sees the cellars open, and he's like, oh, fuck.
So then he sees Cheryl outside.
He sees Cheryl outside.
And then shoots him, and then goes down into the basement.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's another great scene where, after he's done killing Linda and everything, and he sees Cheryl's out and everything, and he's like, oh, fuck me, I just gotta relax. I gotta breathe. And he goes over to the mirror just to have a look at himself, and he sticks his hand out in there, and it goes through. And that's, I think, where he snaps.
Right.
That has got to be the turning point. That has got to be like the moment he goes from Ash to fucking Ash.
To fucking Ash, and he loses his shit. And Cheryl attacks again, and he shoots him again after getting out of the basement. This is after he got out of the basement.
Okay.
So, he shoots Cheryl in the face, and Cheryl is just like, and then there's a great visual where it's in the background. Ash is in the background. He's looking out for Cheryl. And then Scotty fucking comes up like a fucking bolt of lightning.
Like the fucking Undertaker.
And he's just... And this is the climax of the film. And so Scotty attacks Ash.
Cheryl somehow gets back in and is terrorizing Ash too.
And so there's the fire's still in the fireplace. The book of the dead
gets knocked away.
At some point during the scuffle, the book gets knocked near the fireplace, and then that's when Ash realizes that Scotty and Cheryl, they're starting to like kind of
they're starting to smoke, and so he grabs Linda's necklace and he's desperately trying to grab it as he's getting dragged back.
He's trying to use the necklace to latch onto the book.
Let me tell you, Ash's legs get so fucked up in this film.
They do.
Because when Linda comes out of the ground, there's a great scene where she claws at his legs.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, fuck! Oh god! Scotty fucking bites his leg.
Yep.
And he gets so fucked up in this film.
What does Cheryl have again? Does she have like a 2x4 or something?
She's got the fire poker.
Oh, that's it.
Yes. She's hitting him in the back, just fucking playing with him like he's a fucking toy. Just
like they're ready to go in for the kill, and Ash is just like, I gotta get this book.
Yeah, they are at this point. They are toying with him because they have them they have him in their grasp.
They have him in his grasp, but they also realize that he's figured out a way to deal with them.
And so they're like, fuck, kill him! Raises up the arm, and that's when Ash finally grabs the book and fucking tosses it in there. It starts smoking. It starts burning, and they're just like...
And then it's just quiet.
It's just dead quiet.
It's just quiet. Like, I love how it just gets really, really quiet. Oh, no!
Oops.
Everything just fell off a shelf.
There's a oopsie doodles. So, but yeah.
It was the Deadites!
It was the Deadites. It wasn't me. I didn't do nothing.
I certainly didn't knock the desk that caused everything to fall over. It was the book.
But there's an excellent claymation scene.
Oh, I love this claymation. I love claymation in general, but this is like
top
a high
stuff.
point.
And so they start melting. Their bodies start to decompose. Maggots show up on some of them. They start like pooling blood. It's like that scene in The Thing where what's his name from the blood test scene, Palmer. His face just starts fucking
to get all goopy.
Gets all goopy and bubbles up and everything.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to that.
That's obviously with a much higher budget, though.
Yes,
this is all claymation, and it still looks great.
Oh, absolutely.
And then like And then we possibly get to see the only time that we physically see what the Deadites look like, as we just see a bunch of arms fucking pop out from the bodies and fucking start waving around. And I think that's the only time we actually see
Like the physical form
the
of
physical
the Deadite.
form of the Deadites.
Because throughout the rest of the series, they're pretty much just possessing people.
Yes. Which is an interesting visual. They just burst out of the fucking... burst out of the bodies and they're like, ah!
Yeah.
And and there's a great fucking scene where Cheryl's body fucking starts falling over like timber,
and the camera's rolling along with it.
and she hits the ground, her skull fucking splatters, and Ash gets it on the face, and it's like, oh god, no! Ash's reactions in this movie are just so good. Because he's either fucking screaming or he's just like, oh, God!
Bruce Campbell is such a good seller.
You brought this up while we were watching this movie. Every time that it keeps cutting back to Bruce Campbell throughout the climax of the movie, the makeup on his face changes like positions and all that.
Yeah.
So it looks like his injuries just kind of warp around his face.
And that's more just because they shot the film over the course of a year and did scenes out of order and stuff. So that's more like a production goof, but it works in like a strange, weird way because like nothing with the Deadites makes sense. Nothing with this reality seems to be making sense.
Yeah,
So-
like reality is warping around Ash, and he's the only one who's he's being affected by this strange reality that seems to be only composed in this like 3-mile radius within the cabin.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like once the Deadites are awakened, there's not a larger scope of anything. It all seems to just revolve around Ash for the rest of the series,
Well,
except for until later, much later on in the series.
yeah. I mean, as far as like the films are the movies are concerned.
Yes, it all seems to revolve around just Ash, which is interesting when the later sequels fucking get into that.
Yeah.
And then the sun comes up.
So Ash has been awake for has to have been awake for at least 18 to 20 hours.
He's been up all night.
He's been up all night. And the sun comes out and there's this nice music that's playing. Everything's hopeful. He's just like, fuck, finally. And he just stumbles out of the cabin. And we get the final parting shot. The best shot in the entire
A
movie.
fantastic tracking shot from the back of the cabin all the way through the cabin, all right out to the front door, right up into Ash's grill.
and he gets one final scream in, and that's when the movie ends. The evil dad got him in the end.
Yes.
And so the funny story about that shot is they had the.
Now, are you going to tell the apocryphal version or the real version?
I'll tell the apocryphal version because supposedly they used a bicycle for this shot, right? And they had a 2x4 attached to the front of this bicycle, and they planted the camera on this 2x4 and they rode through the forest, and they broke down the doors of the cabin because this is a fucking shit heap cabin in the middle of fucking Tennessee somewhere that they didn't even rent. They were just like, hey, there's a cabin, we're gonna use it. Doesn't matter if it's...
I'm pretty sure they rented it.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they had a lot of... There was a lot of concessions that they had to use it.
Right, okay.
At least that's my understanding.
And so as the story goes, they used the bicycle, they got through the cabin, broke down the doors, and I don't know if it was Sam Raimi riding this bike.
Yeah, according to the story, it is.
According to the story, it is. And so they fucking rode up to Ash. Ash turns around, and that's a legitimate scream that he does, because he's like, oh, fuck! And they fucking ram right into Bruce Campbell, and they apparently, like, broke his arm and broke a couple ribs on him. They fucking plowed into him.
Now, that is the story that Bruce told for years and years. And recently he came out and said, I only told that story because I thought it was a really good story and I wanted to see if people would actually believe it for years.
Yeah.
In actuality, what they did was they just had Sam Raimi holding the camera, running through the the cabin,
Yes.
they had the doors and stuff on like breakaway cables.
Yes.
So they just pulled, the staff and the crew pulled the cable, and he just ran right up to Bruce Campbell, and he acted and did all that.
Right.
And,
but the
and then they just sped up the footage.
But the bicycle story is so much.
It is.
The bicycle story is so much because it's no exaggeration that every actor in this movie, outside of the two fishermen in the beginning, which is Robert Tappert and Sam Raimi, those two, everyone suffered an injury working on this movie.
Every single person, whether it was like a physical injury. Well, I mean, I guess all injuries would be physical, but like
I think
whether it was like a cracked rib or more along the lines of like, oh, I got dysentery because because of the conditions of this film.
Because I think Bruce Campbell had it worse out of everyone because he did his own stunts. He was the only one willing to do the stunts.
And it shows because, man, they beat the shit out of him.
They had to film some of this during the winter, and thankfully they didn't have any snow during the season, or if they did, they delayed production enough. But it got to a point where like they were living on the set when they were filming this. They were living on it for like weeks at times, and so it got to a point where they were like burning the furniture just to keep warm.
Mm-hmm. It was everything from what it sounds like. This shoot was a fucking nightmare to get through.
It sounds just as bad as like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre shoot.
Yeah, and that one's opposite conditions. That one was it's the middle of fucking summer in Texas. No air conditioning, whatever. It's 110 fucking degrees. They're in this house that has windows open, and it's so poorly fucking made. They were fucking dying of heat stroke in that shoot. Where in this one, it's like they fucking went into the middle of the Tennessee woods, found a cabin, rented it, made a film. And they built this over the course of the year, and it was a fucking nightmare too. The water quality was poor. There was nothing.
But supposedly none of the cast or crew has any regrets in doing it.
Which
would make sense when your film that has like a really small budget grosses a massive like payoff.
Well, exactly. Well, and it sounds like this was a passion project for all of them.
For sure.
And it works. It absolutely works.
It's one of the best low budget films of all time.
It is one of the few movies that I can watch over and over again and say the people who made this movie really wanted to make this movie, really enjoyed making this movie.
It's very similar. It's very similar to Night of the Living Dead in that regard. Mm-hmm. Everyone who was involved wanted this film to succeed, and George Romero fucking personally funded the film and had to really take a lot of risks in making it.
Make a lot of sacrifices.
Made a lot of sacrifices. And Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, if this film had not succeeded, we'd never have heard of them.
Yep.
Right. And it's a damn good thing this movie succeeded because...
Mind you, this film was also helped out by the Coen brothers.
Yep.
Joel Coen, he was a fellow scriptwriter, I think, on it. He did something with it.
Yeah, he's credited for something, but I can't remember. And they eventually hire Sam Raimi to work on their next film, which is Crime Wave.
And that does not do well, which is why Evil Dead 2 happens, because Sam Raimi was literally almost broke at that point.
But that's a story for another time.
So yeah, 10 out of 10 for you.
For sure, 10 out of 10.
8.5, 9. It's up there. It's up there.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a movie that I enjoy watching over again.
This is a movie that everybody should watch every Halloween.
This is one of the few movies I can stand watching over and over again. Like most movies, I watch once and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't really need to see that again.
Meanwhile, there's me who watches...
Even if I like the movie.
Meanwhile, there's me who watches the same 5 movies all the time.
I was half tempted to just do 12 Angry Men just to get out of the way for this, but...
Zach...
We'll get there.
Zach was like, yeah, we should do 12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men's really, really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Maybe we'll get to that somewhere down the line.
It is a 10 out of 10 movie. That's not a spoiler. That's just fact. It's really fucking good. But Evil, yeah, so what's your favorite scene in the movie?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
There's so many good scenes.
Yeah, how can you make me just pick one?
Yeah.
What's your top 3?
Okay, so like the claymation stuff at the end when the bodies are decomposing. I really love how like there's stop motion claymation, but then there's also like bubbling liquid that's interspersed with it, and it's all in the same shot, and it's just like, how the fuck did they do that?
The beauty of practical effects. If this was made nowadays, that'd all be CG.
Oh, for sure, and it would be awful.
It would just look terrible.
It would not have the heart and soul.
And I think
also it like would completely clash with the tone of this being like an indie low budget film.
And it's like I don't have a problem with CG when it's done right. You know, when you had the early CG films, we're talking like Jurassic Park and shit like that. It worked because they had to make it look right. Otherwise, it just wasn't going to work. But now, you know, and then you hit the mid-90s where it's like, well, we'll just CGI it. It'll look fine.
It'll look good enough.
It'll look good enough.
It's not good enough.
On the topic of that, maybe it's a bit controversial for me to say this, but I think one of my favorite scenes is the assault scene. Because the effects work
the effects.
Oh, the effects work is absolutely fantastic.
The stop motion effects for that.
It absolutely sells the idea that the trees are alive and possessed.
Yeah, as like questionable as the inclusion of that scene is, it is masterfully like filmed.
Right. And I don't know if I'd be against removing that scene. I think it's integral.
It's very much integral to stuff that happens later on in the franchise.
Yeah.
So getting rid of it would not necessarily be the best idea at this point, but
yeah,
it does sell the evil.
And if the actor who had to be put through it was fine with it and even defends it, then who are we to say anything?
Exactly. Yeah. Like obviously, like Bruce and Sam have gone on record. They're like, yeah, we just threw it in there because it'd be shocking and we knew it would get a reaction. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, I don't think they probably regret how they did it. I don't think they
would probably still do it, but differently.
They probably would have done it.
Take a different approach to it.
They probably would have done it a little more tastefully. Not that there's any taste to fucking rape.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely not. But the effects work in that scene.
The effects work excellently, yeah. God. So, claymation, the assault scene, fuck. Just the whole middle of the film, where it's just... Between Shelley's death and Linda getting killed, just top-notch. Probably the best 30 minutes of the film.
See, my favorite parts are after Linda gets killed and right before he starts fighting Cheryl and Scotty.
Right.
Where it's just quiet. It's just this is the first time the movie has had like a moment to relax, but it's like this weird tension of like I could get attacked at any moment.
Right. Well, and it feels like a lot of horror films nowadays are sort of missing quiet time.
And now that I think about it, like there's a lot of like ebb and flow between like this part of the movie's quiet, then it gets loud, then it gets quiet again, then it gets loud, then it gets quiet again.
Like this is just an example. Like Exorcist 3 had a lot of quiet time. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of quiet time and it worked perfectly. Then you get a movie like 7 where it's all noise. It is just all noise. There's not really any quiet time. I don't know if either of you have seen...
I've seen 7. Yeah, it's from what I remember, there's very little quiet.
There's very little quiet time, especially when it's just characters just relaxing and doing whatever. There's a scene where Morgan Freeman's fucking throwing knives, because he's just throwing knives, and there's fucking loud music in the background, and it's like, this could have done without music. Just have him pondering stuff without music. You don't need music in every scene to be effective.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to drill home here with quiet.
With Evil Dead, it works because there is quiet time, but there's always tension because there's always danger around a corner.
Like there is a soundtrack to this movie, and it's pretty good. It's
pretty good.
It fits the the tone of the film.
Especially the
but just the fact that there are just what
the credit music too.
Oh yes,
where it's old timey fucking 50s jazz.
Yeah, we got the gonk here again.
We'll get there eventually.
But there's plenty of scenes where there's just ambient noise.
It's great. The quiet scenes are excellent. The violent scenes are excellent. This movie is just great all the way through. There's even a fucking scene at the beginning of the film where they're crossing the bridge and a plank fucking goes out and they're like, "Oh fuck, we might die."
Shit, they almost run into another car at one point.
Yeah.
Even earlier.
Man, imagine if they did hit that car. Well, series over.
I guess, yeah.
Well, we can't go to the cabin, guys.
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll just go home.
It just they would have had to cut to a different set of teens.
Yeah. Well, and none of them would have survived.
Well, yeah.
It's like, are these even teens? They look.
They're college kids.
So adults.
Yeah, they're full adults.
Sure.
They're like in their 20s.
I just mean like teens.
Yes.
Young folk.
Young folk.
The normal fodder for these kind of films.
Yes.
Interesting how, like, in Friday the 13th, they're like, these guys are, like, 18 years old, and then they're, like they're, like, 30-year-olds.
It'd be kind of interesting if somebody made, like, a movie that was, like kind of like a slasher film, but it's set in, like an old folks' home, and, I'm just describing Bubba Hotep.
Oops!
Whoopsies!
Did you realize that?
Yeah, that was a bit.
Whoops. Bubba Hotep's also great. That's another Bruce Campbell film.
Speaking of which, that's up on Tubi if you guys do want to watch that
I
sometime
don't have
soon.
Tubi. I know it's
not
free.
like it's
I know it's free, but still.
it's like, I don't have it and I don't want it, even though there's no downside to having
Yeah.
it.
Was there anything that you didn't like about this film?
You know, it's a minor complaint, but I feel like some of the execution of ideas within the woods, I felt like it was a better idea the first go around, and then they felt they had to change it in some way,
Right.
for the full length Evil Dead. But a lot of that stuff just gets reused in the second movie, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah. It was amazing. We were watching Within the Woods, and he's never seen it. And he goes, "Oh my god!"
It's just a shot-for-shot remake of Evil Dead 2.
A movie I haven't seen.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it!
It's kind of ironic because the second movie is generally considered the best of the original trilogy, and it's the only one that I haven't seen. Like, I've seen Evil Dead, I've seen Army of Darkness, but I've never seen Evil Dead 2 in its entirety. I've only seen portions.
You've seen snippets and clips,
Yeah.
probably of the most famous scenes.
Yes.
Which, I mean, that's just another one that has, you
Yeah.
know, scene after scene after scene after scene of just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Yep.
It's in my opinion, Bruce Campbell's acting masterclass. I mean, you could argue Evil Dead, you could probably argue Army of Darkness was that, but
It depends on what we're trying to convey.
Yeah.
What
I
type
think
of acting.
as far as physical and facial acting, I think Evil Dead 2 is his best.
Yes, but we're not here to talk about that movie.
No. I mean, if we wanted to do it all in one shot.
Should we just do it right now? Should we
Yeah.
just go watch it live on the podcast?
Yeah!
No, I've got an appointment later.
Oh,
Fuck
damn it.
you. You whore. What, at 2 o'clock?
4.
4, oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, serious still.
So that was Evil Dead 2. Or Evil Dead 1.
Evil Dead also?
Evil Dead also?
That was the Evil Dead.
It's The Evil Dead.
Yep, and that's a distinction too, because the 2013 movie is just called Evil Dead.
Yes.
So, yeah. Great movie.
Great movie.
It was okay, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't Crime Wave, but alright.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever.
It wasn't Friday the 13th Part 3. It wasn't Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. That's my favorite. I love how you just walked away from that movie. You're just like,
I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah, I don't need to fucking watch this. This is trash.
No, that was Halloween.
Oh yeah, that was Halloween 4.
I watched Nightmare 2, just because
Yeah.
I've
It
never
was
seen
Halloween
it
5 that he just,
Yeah, you-
bailed before
you're
the
just
10-minute mark.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, I know what this is about.
before. I get where this is going.
I get where this is going. I'm gonna head out. You got
and by head out, I mean just go into another room because this is my house.
Yeah, you got to the part where the first chick dies, and you're like, all right, that's all.
I don't even think he made it that far. I'm pretty sure he was
fully.
I had no intention of watching that movie, so
You only did it as a favor.
no, because Nikki wanted to watch it.
Well, yeah.
And we had to cover it.
So did you figure out what you were gonna recommend?
I don't remember what it was.
You don't remember?
I'm sure I'll remember as soon as we hit the stop button on the recording.
You got any other recommendations that you'd want to do?
Oh God, I don't know.
Let's throw them on the spot.
I see you've got some Splatoon amiibo sitting over here. Go play some Splatoon 1 if you still have the chance. They're shutting down the servers in April.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't know the Wii U servers were still up.
They are. The Wii U and 3DS servers are getting shut down in April.
Splatoon 3 is a thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's a thing.
Yeah, I need to pick that up.
Me? Yeah. I was gonna say me too, but it's like, it's just more Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I play them more for the single-player campaigns.
That you do.
Yeah, and there's still no news on any new Nintendo console coming out.
Which is fine, because I love the Switch.
Well, they're not exactly releasing anything new for it very much.
Well, we've got the Princess Peach game.
Okay.
We've got a new Endless Ocean coming.
Okay.
That they just announced. We've got
Endless Ocean. Is that the fucking swimming game?
Yeah. It's the deep sea diving game.
The deep sea diving game that you have on Wii. That's cool.
Yeah. No, those are good games.
Those are good games.
Nice chill games. And then you got the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake, which is
okay.
stellar. They just announced a new Pokemon Legends game.
Yep.
But that's not coming out until 2025, which supposedly is when the new console's going to come out.
Or when they're going to announce it, maybe.
Well, I'm sure if they're going to release it next year. They're thinking early next year, so probably announce it late last year or late this year. Kind of like they did when they originally announced the Switch.
Okay, gotcha.
So am I just slapping the cover for Splatoon here?
Yeah.
Just
without any explanation as to why?
Just put on Splatoon.
Splatoon, bruh. Watch The Evil Dead and then play Splatoon.
Yeah, get some Splatak going.
Get some massive mood whiplash going.
Yep.
Hey kids, you want to watch a movie?
It's okay. It's just as wet.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, no, that's not inaccurate.
Too much water.
Too much water. Actually, ink's not water. They die when they go in the water. The ink diffuses. The ink in their body diffuses and they die.
Except that they don't really.
They don't die, but
That's rough.
they die in video game terms.
That's rough.
Okay, let's say bye. Bye.
Why?
Bye.